Welcome to Disclosure Network New York. Today is Sunday, September 8th, 2019. I'm Nick Curto, dnny Director and Co-Founder. dnny is a grassroots organization now celebrating our 18th year of providing 2 meetings per month throughout the year in Manhattan. We focus on cutting-edge UFO, ET issues, paranormal phenomenon, and many related and very important subjects that are in back of the mainstream news headlines that they never will go into depth and discuss. In other words, who or what is pulling the strings in back of the curtain. Our members do intensive investigative research into these various topics and share that information with the group at our meetings, as well as on our internet followers on YouTube. Both ways you can get those meetings. Our meetings are recorded. Our motto right from day one is, quote, connecting the dots to seek truth, unquote. We have available to everyone worldwide a dnny News Blast email service focusing on the cutting edge topics of special interest, and that is totally free. Just go to our website, which is www.dnny.info. I'll repeat that, dnny.info, and type in your email address where it is asked for, and then click to send. That way you'll be connected with us, with our news items, and you'll be connected with what's going on and who's going to be at our next meetings, what the subject matter is, and who's going to speak. We have many hundreds of people that are already signed on for the service. And you can hear our meetings because they are all recorded on both YouTube as well as our own website. Now, then, our featured guest speaker for today's meeting is a longtime member of dnny and an awesome person, Rena Dunsworth. Welcome, Rena. Let's have a hand for her.
Thank you, Nick.
So glad you're here, and we're looking so forward to your talk. I want to just do a very, very brief personal background about you, so the audience will know a little bit about you, and then we'll get right into your talk. First of all, if I may ask you, where were you born?
Rapid City, South Dakota.
Okay. And how about your mom and dad? Just a little bit about them?
My dad grew up in Colorado. My mom grew up in South Dakota. They met, very interestingly enough, my father was on one of those, what do they call those things? Where you're searching for different objects.
Oh, yeah.
And
like a metal detector thing?
No, you go around to different people and say, do you have this? What the heck do they call those? Treasure hunt or something like that.
Okay.
And anyway, my dad came to my grandfather's house and asked if he had a certain object, and my mom peeked out, and my dad instantly kind of fell in love and went back a week later and asked her out. Wow.
That's quite a story.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you have any brothers or sisters? I want to ask you
that.
Yeah,
I have one brother, one sister.
Okay. Younger or older?
Both younger.
Both younger than yourself. Okay, very good. And just very quickly about your schooling.
I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in creative writing.
Excellent.
And associate's degree in technical writing.
Excellent, excellent. And what year, if you remember, when did you arrive in New York City?
2007.
So actually, that's not that far back.
No, 12 years.
Yeah. You're planning to stay?
Yeah, I plan to stay.
Good. That's good. We hope you will. Okay, now the title of your talk, and I love the title that you picked, quote, a year in the life of an abductee / contactee, unquote. So, if you will, that's a very interesting title and very provocative. So, if you will, go ahead and tell us more about that.
Well, since the age of 5, I've been, I was abducted when I was 5. And then I had contact with an alien race after the abduction experience.
How did that take place?
Well, my parents were on the way to South Dakota to visit my grandparents, but they took a detour to this place called Pawnee Butte, and there's something really strange about my parents. They knew about the aliens. They were in contact with the aliens.
Really? That's unusual.
Yeah.
Wow. And they discussed that? They talked about it with
No, they didn't ever discuss it.
So you found that out
But,
later?
Yeah.
Okay.
I found this out through hypnosis and through a remote viewer who helped me remember my early abduction experience. And what was I going to
When
say?
you're under hypnosis and you're being regressed to remember that, when that's over with, do you have a complete memory of what you were saying at that time?
Yeah, I had a complete memory of my parents going off this dirt road and stopping, and then this light coming down from the sky,
Wow.
and this craft landing. And my mom got all excited, like, oh boy, oh boy.
Yes, she would.
Like she knew they were coming.
She did.
And my dad knew that
Is that why they took the detour?
Yeah, that's why
It
they took
was
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was so that they could abduct me. And
So that was prearranged?
Yeah.
Okay.
30 of the little white guys, kind of like this, but shorter, like this tall.
You're talking about 3 feet.
3
maybe.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, came out of the spaceship, and one of them had this wand, silver wand,
Okay.
and he used it to paralyze me, and then he used it to levitate me out of the car because I was struggling to. I was really freaked out.
So you must have been absolutely scared
I
still.
was scared.
Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? So
To
all right.
death.
So he, I guess we could say male, or we don't know. He levitated you.
Well, yeah, I don't know
It
if
may
they
not
were
be
he
gender.
or
I mean,
she.
I don't know. All right. So and levitated you out of the car.
Yeah, 30 of them levitated me out of the
Oh.
car. The one guy did mainly, but then they were on both sides of me and took me into the spaceship. And then we lifted off and we went up into the sky into this big, huge mothership with thousands of aliens. You know, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the big ship?
Yes.
It was kind of like that.
Did it look a little bit like that?
No, it looked
What
more
did it
like
look
a
like?
big beetle. It looked more like a big black beetle.
Was it like a metallic color?
Yeah, it was kind of
It
a
was?
shiny black.
And were there lights on it or not?
No, it was pretty dark.
Okay.
There were some lights, but it was pretty dark.
Okay. And was there any
But there was
sound?
lights inside.
Was there any sound of any kind?
No sound.
Not in the smaller craft or the
No.
bigger craft?
No,
That you remember?
the smaller craft kind of had a humming sound. But,
Okay.
and it went up inside the big ship, and
Go ahead.
I was there for 2 weeks.
Now, when you say, what about your parents?
My parents were there
Also.
too. Were in the ship also.
2 weeks.
And my sister.
And your sister was there
Yeah,
too?
my 3-year-old sister.
Okay, I got a myriad of questions now. For instance, what did you eat? What did they serve you for nourishment?
I don't really remember.
Don't
I just
remember that.
remember.
Or drink, anything like that? No?
No, there's big gaps in my memory.
Okay.
Well, one of the things that I remember is me and my sister walking around by ourselves, and there were all these aliens, and they were sitting kind of like in a booth in a diner.
Okay.
There was a bunch of these booths, and they were
Booths?
sitting in there, and they had this stuff that was like silly putty, and they were levitating it with their minds and forming different shapes. And when somebody made an interesting shape, they would all kind of like giggle. And
What was the shapes? Were they like art shapes or were they?
yeah, they were abstract shapes.
Okay. creative, abstract.
Yeah, very creative, abstract
Different colors.
shapes.
Do you remember any of that?
No, it was. It reminded me of silly putty, that pinkish color.
Like a gray kind of
pinkish
gray color.
Yeah.
That's wild. That really is.
Yeah,
I got to ask another question. Did they have clothes or not?
Not that I remember.
Don't remember that. Okay,
remember.
but they all were about 3 foot tall.
Yeah, but then there were some other types of aliens on that ship. There were some 9 to 10 foot giants.
What did they look like?
They looked like Lurch from the Addams Family.
Really? And they were much, much bigger.
They were 9 to 10 feet
9 to
tall.
10 feet, that's a huge amount.
Yeah, they were huge, and they were very intimidating. And they put me on a operating table. And
So
I
they were
think
more aggressive, would you say?
Yeah, they were more aggressive and intimidating. And I remember they made fun of me, you know.
What kind of fun? The fact that you were human?
That I was little, that I was helpless.
Helpless. And they enjoyed the fact?
Oh yeah, they enjoyed it.
Isn't that very strange?
Yeah, it's
and
very,
a little disturbing.
Yeah, and they put me on the operating table, and I think they put some implants in me. And
do you have any feeling at all of where in your body?
Behind my eye, see that little scar there?
Yes, I do.
They put one in my hand. Those are the 2 that I remember. They may have put more in.
And there are many stories of people saying that when they were on a table, like what you're describing, that was one of the key things that went on.
Yeah.
It was almost like a tracking of some kind.
I think they put one up my nose, too.
Yeah, and that's another place that there's many stories that does take place also.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So, again, you were there for 2 weeks.
I was there for 2 weeks, and they were trying to get me to talk about, they called it a pulse motor, but I call it a pulsar motor. And basically what it is it's a motor that uses lasers to create, I don't know if you know what a neutron star is.
Yes.
It circles round and round and round, and it creates huge amounts of electricity and magnetism.
Is that for a power source?
It's a power source for a ship.
Huh.
And they were trying to get me to give them the specs on that.
Because you knew that?
Not that I knew of.
But there was some...
They believed that I knew.
They believed that you did know that and were asking about giving them more information.
Maybe they thought I knew it from a past life or something.
Okay, that's a different story. But now you were not able to give them that information.
No, I didn't give them the information. And there was this really old alien. He was kind of black colored, and it looked kind of like E.T.
Did they have hair, of like gray hair? Nothing like that?
No hair.
No. And was their skin scaly, or was it like ours?
It was smooth.
Smooth? And gray, did you say?
Well, this one was black.
Black.
Almost.
But some of them were also
black,
gray.
No, they were white.
Oh.
I call them whites.
Okay.
Because they're little white. They're not gray at all.
Okay. And how about their eyes? Were they normal? Were they much bigger?
No, their eyes were like human eyes, but they were dark. They were black.
Black, just totally black eyes.
Totally black eyes, but they were the size of a human.
Were they blinking? Did they have like? Could they?
Yeah,
blink?
they could.
Could. And
blink.
Was there a nose and a mouth similar to?
Not much of.
Not much
either.
of a mouth.
Not
but
not
little
much of
holes
either.
for a nose, perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about ears? Any ears?
Kind of like this.
Like that. Okay. And what Rena is doing is showing our group something that you made, which is a drawing.
Yeah. I'll explain later what it represents in this story.
Wow. Now I see in your illustration here that there is a green, it looks like a tear in one of the eyes. Did you experience them crying or anything, emotions?
That's what I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
They have, since I was a child, they've been working on getting more human emotions in their facial features.
Interesting.
And in order to get me to do what they want, I don't.
They were trying to be more human
They were trying to be more human
in your eyes, so that
And-
you could then be more comfortable.
Yeah,
with
and
them.
then I would do what they wanted me to do. Or
And did that work out? I mean,
No,
were they
I-
successful in this?
no,
They were not.
I said no.
I would think that would take an awful long time of studying and then experimenting for them to. And also, do they have the muscles in their face to do?
They did.
They did.
They did make some like sad features.
Okay.
And disappointed features,
Okay.
things like that. They
And
were
was it
able to
telepathic communication or was it verbal?
do. No, it was telepathic.
Telepathic. All of it?
Yeah, all of it.
Okay. But when they did that, obviously it was in English.
Yeah, it was
They
in
picked
English.
up that you were
Yeah.
not any other.
They know English real well.
What?
They know English real well.
Ah, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Um,
But you didn't experience that they were male or female. You didn't experience
No,
that.
I never
Okay.
did.
And that
what sex
may
they
not
were.
be the case. I mean, we
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. So then what happened?
Well, the old alien finally gave up on me and said,
Hell with her. We've had enough. We tried.
take her back to the moment that we took her from.
Took her. Okay. And your parents and your sister.
Yeah,
Okay.
my sister.
And then what happened then?
My parents were disappointed in me and expressed that they were disappointed.
Told you that,
Yeah, they told me that, why aren't you helping out here?
but you couldn't.
But I couldn't. I didn't. I
Did
didn't
they
know-
understand that? I guess
Not
they
really,
didn't.
not really.
Not really. Okay.
So they took us back to the same moment in time. They can manipulate time. My dad had me in his arms, and he was going to put me in the back seat of the car. And all of a sudden, time stopped, except for me and these two aliens that looked human, very human. One had a white beard and looked a little like Santa Claus. And the other was a tall woman alien, and she had black hair. And they smiled at me, and they had the most beautiful smiles I've ever seen.
Very sincere.
Very, very
Loving?
sincere, very loving.
Smile. And this was when you were back out of the ship.
Yeah.
And you were near your-
They were getting. My dad was getting ready to put me back in the car.
Okay.
And then we would continue on to South Dakota.
And their mission was to say goodbye to you. Was that it?
No, they said, "Would you like to come with us?"
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went with them.
Okay. Then what?
Well, we walked for what seemed like forever to their spaceship. It was parked in this field of sagebrush,
Oh.
and it had a ramp, and it was pretty big, pretty good size.
But it was just you, not your parents, not your.
No,
it
no,
was
just me
you.
and those two.
They singled
aliens.
you out.
They singled me out.
And they were trying to say what to you as they were walking with you? What were they saying?
I don't really remember,
Okay.
but I remember some of the stuff on the spaceship.
Okay. But you did accept,
Yeah, I did accept.
and you then were transported into the ship again with them.
Well, we walked up on
A ramp?
up the ramp into the ship,
Okay.
and then there was a console on one side that had all these instruments and like little TVs and stuff like that. And the man, who I later found out his name was Pelenos, like King Pel, only Pelenos. He was the pilot of the ship, and the woman was there to examine me to see what the aliens had done to me, and she put me on a bed, and she
like
used
an operating table?
Yeah.
Like that again? Okay.
And then she used these instruments to scan my whole body.
Okay.
And I remember her saying to Pelenos, oh my God, they've taken out her pineal gland.
Wow.
Well, the pineal gland has to do with the soul. It's the soul's connection.
And they had taken it.
They had
somewhere,
taken it out, and
they found that to be true. That it was gone.
it was gone.
Wow. Okay, so then take us to what happened then.
We left, and we went to the Pleiades, and we went there really fast.
I wanted to ask you about that. Did they strap you to a chair or something? Was there any
No,
motion?
I stayed on the. No, there was no motion.
Because a lot of reports said the same thing that you're saying, that on the ship, and they were going really fast, and they were making turns and everything, and there was no feeling of having to
There's
be
no G-forces
strapped
at
down.
all.
There was no G-forces, anything
No
like that.
G-forces at all.
There was an experience as long as you were in the ship.
My theory is that there's an electrical field around the ship,
Okay.
and it shields the ship from any G-forces.
Okay. Okay. And I've read and heard other reports, and there's a similarity there, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So what happened then? You're on this ship.
We went to the Pleiades, and then we went to a place that had a intergalactic portal, and we went through the portal, and when we got to the other side of the portal, we're in black space, and before me is a galaxy. We're outside of the galaxy.
Wow. So,
And then,
what were you seeing
then-
then? Were you seeing stars on the other side of that?
No, I saw just a big silvery blue galaxy.
Oh,
And on the other side, I didn't see,
there was nothing,
there was just black space.
just deep black space,
Space.
nothing else. That's so wild and unusual. Wow.
Yeah.
And then what happened then? You were
Well,
still moving?
I was so tired that I fell asleep.
Okay.
And the next thing I know, it's the next day, and I'm on their planet.
You're what?
I'm on their planet.
Wow. Did you feel as though you were somehow leaving the ship, that it had landed, and you were walking, or?
No, I woke up and
And you were, where were you?
I woke up and I was in a building,
A building.
a beautiful building with, you know what wainscot paneling is?
Tell me.
It's a special kind of paneling that they use in fancy woodworking.
Okay.
It comes up about this high, and it's all made of wood.
About
And-
4 feet.
Yeah.
Made of wood.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they had wainscot paneling all around, and
Was it a huge
there was
room?
it was a big room,
Big room.
and there's this beautiful, beautiful woman sitting at a table, and
When you woke up, you saw her.
I woke up, I saw her, and she said, "I'm going to be your mother while you're here."
She used the term mother.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Wow.
And her name
did
was-
you get a feeling that she was a good person, that there
Oh.
wasn't anything to fear?
The best.
The best.
The best.
So it was relaxing that you were
Yeah.
in good company.
Yeah,
Okay.
I felt totally. After the experiencing the shock of finding out my family,
Yeah.
all the stuff I found out, and
That alone.
this was like heaven to me.
Oh, wow.
It was like,
Well, I'm glad that there was a good feeling there.
Yeah, and I was there for a while.
Do you have any idea how long?
No.
No, okay.
Long
And what were you
time.
doing when you were there? What was there interaction?
Yeah, I went to school
School?
for a while.
School, and for what? What were you learning?
Well, she was a physics teacher at a
Okay.
university. We were at the university when I woke up. We were in a room in one of the rooms in the university,
Oh.
and she showed me this device that they have, she called it a real-time mapper. And basically, she took me to this table that's about this size of this table.
Right.
And in the center of it was this thing like a rod. And then there, you know how like smartphones have buttons that you can push and stuff like that?
Right.
There were that on the table.
On the table.
And
Built into the table?
no, just
On the table.
on the table, electronically in the
Okay.
table.
Okay.
And she pushed a button, and it kind of lit up. And then she pushed another button, and this strange, basically what she told me it was a picture of the universe.
Like a 3D picture?
3D picture of the
Like a
universe.
hologram, something like that?
Hologram of all the galaxies and all
Wow.
the universe.
I just can't even imagine that. Wow.
And it looked like lace or something. It looked like, you know, all the galaxies
I can
laced
imagine.
together.
That sounds like a
And,
good description of what it would be like.
And she took this pointer and she pointed to one of the galaxies. And all of a sudden it zoomed in on the galaxy, and
It blew
right
up.
before us.
It blew up bigger.
Yeah, it blew up bigger, and there's the galaxy. And then she took the pointer and she pointed to a constellation and blew
that
up.
blew
and-
up too.
Yeah,
We've gotten a lot larger.
yeah. And she kept doing that until we saw the people on this planet.
Do you have any idea what galaxy or what planet?
No.
No, okay.
I have no idea.
But you could view
Yeah, the people.
fairly close people.
Like looking at them from a building,
Okay.
looking down on them.
Now,
from
why?
a
Do
building.
you have any idea why she would choose of all the different areas of why that particular place?
She said, this is how we decide who we're going to help.
Who are going to help?
Who we're going to help.
How? Really?
We look at them. We don't go out in our spaceship and try and find people. We use this device to find out who needs help.
Wow.
And that's how they found our Earth. 'Cause
Well, hello. They made quite a discovery because we all need help. I don't think there's anybody in this room that would not totally agree that if we ever needed help, it's now. So that's so interesting. So then what happened from there?
well, I was living with her for a while, and then she wanted me to go live with Pelenos for a while and have him be my personal tutor.
How did that land with you? Did you want that?
I was sorry to leave her behind because Pelenos to me was a little bit intimidating.
Okay, so that was not an attractive next step for you.
No, not at first, but I grew to love that man a lot.
Okay, so
He lived out in the country in the hills. He had a really modern looking house, made of glass mostly. And
Wow.
it was passive solar type.
was he living alone?
Yeah, he was
He was
living
living alone.
And
And
he had a loft that I lived in, you know, stayed in. My room was a loft.
I got to ask you these other questions because, again, my head is spinning. There's so many questions to ask you at this point. Did he have any pets, animals?
No,
Nothing like that?
No.
No, okay.
but
And
he introduced me to a family of 9 kids. They were all farmers, and one of the kids' name was Myrie. She was my age, and we became close friends.
And around the house and when you were venturing in different places, was there vegetation, trees, cactus?
Oh,
What was
trees
it?
everywhere.
Trees everywhere. Green? Were they green?
Oh, yeah.
They were. Like us here on our planet?
And it looked like our planet.
It looked like our planet. So there's a lot of similarities.
A lot
there.
of similarities.
It probably would have been reassuring, I think, if it were me,
Yeah.
and you saw things that you already knew, that would be a reassuring thing, too. So
Yeah.
then you were with him for a while.
For a while, and then I came back to Earth.
Have any idea how long that would have been?
No, I
Okay.
have no idea.
And did you learn from him
Yeah, I learned a lot.
a lot? And what subjects or what kinds of things did you learn?
He wanted me to learn about robotics.
Robotics. Had you ever had any experience with robotics before?
No,
No. And so did you absorb some of the things he was...
I think so.
You
I
did?
think so.
Ah, interesting. I wonder why he wanted that particular subject for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
you don't have to know. It's like, but he
Yeah,
made a
but-
decision, obviously.
Yeah.
So then what happened? You were there a while?
They put me in this capsule in order to send me back to Earth. And the capsule would go through space and be bombarded by certain rays and stuff like that.
Energies?
Energies, and it would reduce my age because I had been there for a while. It would reduce my age back to 5 years old,
Wow.
so that when I got to Earth, and
You were then the same age as when you
I was the same
left.
age as when I left, and they didn't put me back in my father's arms there. My father, somehow time had done a loop-de-loop, and they were no longer where
You left them.
left them. They were about 100 miles away on the way to Rapid City, and they stopped, and
There you were?
then they
So-
put me in my father's arms and put me in the back of the car.
Now were they, your parents were obviously glad to see you, embraced you, did you feel comfort?
Well, they only lost about an hour of time where they didn't know where I was.
So you were only away like an hour,
Yeah,
so it wasn't as big a deal as if you were for a
Yeah.
much longer period of time.
but when they realized that I knew something that
You didn't
Been
have
up.
before.
my mom screamed, like this scream that I've never heard her do before.
A scream of terror, or what kind of scream was it?
A scream of, oh my God,
That she's back.
she's back and she knows.
Wow. It's pretty amazing stuff. That's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, I know. It's like I say, a lot of people say abductees are really out there. Well, it's because we've been out there.
Okay. Now, I want
Literally.
to just go a little bit ahead of time, because recently you were telling me that something happened to you in a contact and a particular question that was quite amazing about coming with them. Give us a little bit of what's going
Okay.
on currently.
How about if I just go through the,
Sure, okay, absolutely, then we'll get to that.
okay, yeah,
Sure.
look at that.
Sure.
About a year ago, I saw these clouds, zigzag clouds. And as soon as I saw them, I said to myself, those have something to do with the UFO. So I started looking around, and sure enough, I saw a UFO going north, zigzagging across the sky, back and forth. I've never seen a UFO zigzag across the sky, but this one did. So that was the start. That was about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago.
That was a sighting you saw.
Yeah, that was
And where
my
were you? Where
sighting.
were you in
I was
New
on
York City?
116th Street
So you're right in Manhattan.
and Fifth Avenue.
Okay. Okay. Did anybody else see that? When
No.
You know, that's so typical. That
It,
you
it
can
was
see
only
something
there.
up there.
I didn't even have time to. I was going to try and take a picture of it, but I didn't even have time to get my camera out.
It was like that.
my
It was that
phone
quick.
out. It was that quick.
Wow.
But it was zigzagging really fast. I
Interesting.
mean, really, it was a silvery disc zigzagging across the sky. Okay, then I had nothing for a couple months, and then I started having these visions of aliens, and kind of like this alien. And I need to.
Was the visions in dreams, or was it
No.
just no? It was like in a normal day.
I'm
thinking.
gonna define my visions.
Okay.
For you now.
Okay.
A vision to me is a three-dimensional play out of certain events right before your eyes. Like it's like a hologram almost.
In front of you, you're seeing.
You're seeing it
Okay.
in vivid color, vivid
Wow.
detail, and I started having these visions of the little guys that
Little guys.
that
Like
abducted
you
me.
saw way back when.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
Was that vision like? Were they saying anything to you? Was there anything?
Yeah,
What were
they
they
did.
talking about there?
They were saying, "Don't you miss us?"
Don't you miss us? Wow.
And,
Wow.
and
In a friendly way.
in a friendly way, but
Okay.
I didn't trust them, because how can you trust them when they did that to you? You know, at
Because it
5
was
years
against
old?
your will.
It was against my will, and it was very frightening. And
So it's hard to trust after that.
yeah,
That
it's
makes
really
total
hard
sense
to
to
trust.
me too. Yeah. But they were saying that to you, and this was on an ongoing basis over many visions of this.
Yeah, I kept having visions almost every night. Of
That's
them.
very aggressive.
Yeah, they were getting very aggressive,
Okay.
and I started having memories of when I was like even younger than 5 years old, when they used to come in my bedroom, and they always had these colorful toys that they would, play with me, get me to play with them. And
So there was contact, and
There
it
was-
was kind of getting used to them.
yeah, getting used to
And
that.
you were being observed.
I was being observed.
Okay.
And so I started having these kind of memories. And then I had one memory of the aliens in my bedroom. And then I had this memory of my mom and dad giving me a screen memory so I would forget about them. And what they did is they took a Jack in the Box, and
It pops up.
it popped up, and it scared me so bad I forgot about the aliens.
Wow. It worked.
It worked.
I wonder why they did that. I mean, that's so interesting. Like, why would they
Yeah.
do something like that? Huh.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
I don't know what. Like I've said in the past, I think my dad was a high-level military person with contact, with ties to Area 51 and other places.
Okay.
And
In our own government?
In our
United
own
States?
government.
United States government, okay.
he was an Air Force mechanic, but he and my uncle, they always gave off this vibe that they were much more involved than just the Air Force.
Okay.
And then he worked for a company called Sunstrand Aviation. And I can't prove it, but I think that they had ties to Area 51.
Okay.
And
Sometimes your gut,
yeah,
you just, something is telling you,
Yeah.
and yeah, lots of times your gut is right, so that could very well be.
as far as what the aliens wanted now, they wanted the pulsar motor again. They promised me that if I gave them the specs for it, they would make me smart. they would increase my IQ. And
They would upstep your knowledge. You would be smarter if you were to be with them.
Yeah.
That's the message there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I said no.
You said no because you couldn't trust them.
I couldn't trust them.
Right. And well, that you shouldn't because of what was going on.
Yeah.
You had no basis of you're going to be okay later. You're going to be returned. You had no idea.
Yeah.
That was a real mystery there, and so you've
I
been very
remember
cautious.
the Giants and how intimidating they were, and how intimidating the old guy was, and I just no.
So that no that you said was how long ago?
It was last winter.
Last winter.
Last winter.
And here we are in September.
Yeah, in
Okay.
September. Now, in the summertime, I started seeing metallic lights in the sky, and I think what they were was UFOs uncloaking and then cloaking again really fast. And I started seeing these almost on a daily basis.
So it would look, the sky would look solid, and then boom, it was gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought something was going on with my vision until I got a telepathic message from my friends from outer space, the Etacazapians. They said, wave to us.
Wave to them. Acknowledge them.
Yeah.
The next time you're seeing something, say
So
hello.
the next time I saw something, I didn't wave. I was too chicken.
And you were probably on a New York public street somewhere.
Yes, I was on 116th
During the day?
during the day.
During the day.
With all kinds of people around.
Right. So you thought,
So,
man, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Okay, so you didn't do that. And
So-
then was that one time or was it more times?
No, it was just this one time, and then they stopped showing up for a while. And then I saw a really clear UFO, kind of silvery disc. It was so high in the, it looked about this big, but it was really high in the air. So at that big, way high in
You're
the
talking
air.
about a quarter of an inch, you're showing your hand about a quarter of an inch. It looked, but it could have been huge up there.
Yeah,
So,
it was pretty big, I think.
Okay,
And I waved to it.
this
And
time.
the
On
second,
a public street again?
on a public street, on 116th and 117th and Lexington Boulevard.
And that's a pretty populated
Yeah.
area of people
Yeah,
walking around.
there weren't as many people as the other time.
Okay.
But
Did anybody look at you like, what's she doing? Or no.
I
You
didn't care.
Didn't care, okay.
I didn't care at
But
that
what
point.
happened when you did acknowledge?
The second I acknowledged it, these balloons appeared out of nowhere. I mean, they just materialized. At first there were 2 balloons, and then there were 4 balloons.
And how close were they to you?
They were up in the air,
Up in the sky, okay.
up in the sky,
Okay.
floating by. And then there were 4 balloons, and then there were 7 balloons, and then they disappeared behind a building.
You know, one of the ufologists that has addressed our group before.
I thought about that.
Right, was talking about balloons that looked like balloons, but obviously wasn't because they looked like they were being controlled.
Yeah.
And they were being controlled, but
Yeah.
to the common person, they'd say, oh, it's balloons, but it didn't seem like that. Almost like it was disguised as something else.
Harold England, I told him this story, and he said maybe it was a message from them. You know, the number 7 is a significant number, and so I have to think about that. And
Also, Gary, who's a ufologist and photographs many UFOs, has had that same. In fact, I've seen a film where he was filming things just like you're describing. So that checks out. So now we're up to, how far up are we to the present day now? And how far is that?
July,
July. And here we are in
September.
September.
And then they started saying that we want you to come with us.
Come with us.
Yeah,
It's time for you to come with us.
yeah. And I've had this vision of being in a different body as a young person on a ship with about 5 of them around me. And I'm saying, when are we going to get there?
Get where?
To this, there was a really bright star that we were headed towards.
Okay.
And
That was the destination.
it seemed like that was the destination.
Okay.
And I said, it's going to be a while. And
But again, you were saying, no, I don't want to go with you.
no, at that point I was saying, yes, I do want to go with you.
Ah, so you changed your, what made you change?
Well, I didn't really change. I changed back.
You felt more comfortable?
Well, at that point I felt like, yeah, I'm getting old. I don't have any adventures anymore.
Wow. Okay. You've had quite a few adventures before. So things were getting dull and you thought maybe this is something
this
you could
might be something
to jazz up your life a little bit? I guess it would.
Yeah.
So then you were in a decision here of accepting.
That's been going on for about the last 2 months.
Yeah, and you called me and told me about this, that you were
Yeah.
trying to decide what
And
to do.
I think I'm still trying to decide because just 2 days ago I got a telepathic message from them
Saying,
saying, "Do you want to come with us?"
so again, they're aggressively saying,
Yeah.
come with us. And
But-
now did anything since then come into your life that influenced you so far? Anything else happen?
To stay.
Talk
yeah.
to me. What happened then?
I had a vision of this man in a long white beard, very regal, noble-looking man.
Like a Greek god, something like that?
Maybe like the Ancient of Days or something
Ancient
like
of
that.
Days? Okay.
And he said to me in this vision, if you stay with me, I'll make sure. I kind of got that feeling that my screenplays would sell.
What?
My screenplays would sell if I stayed with him. If I stayed on the earth, he would ensure that.
So there was communication somehow
Yeah.
between him and the original people that were saying, we want you to come with us.
Well, he was in opposition to me leaving.
He said, don't
Don't leave.
trust them, don't go.
He didn't say don't trust them. He just said don't go.
Don't go at this time,
Yeah.
something like that.
And so I
Did you feel there was a loving presence there?
Oh, yeah.
There was,
Very
definitely
much
a
so.
loving presence protecting you perhaps?
yeah, maybe.
Maybe? Okay.
But I feel very loved by them too.
Also,
So,
well that's good. I mean,
yeah. So I'm
So
I'm
right now,
kind of in a conundrum.
right.
Do I go or do I stay?
So you say, yeah, and you always wonder, like, what's going to happen to your life? You have an apartment, right?
Yeah.
You have friends.
Yeah.
Would you just simply disappear, or would it be something where you'd come back and it would only be an hour later? And you don't know this. This is all stuff up in the air, right?
Yeah, they have a teleportation device that they can teleport you onto their ship.
Okay.
And
But you said before, there's a way that you could come back, and people would think you've been gone an hour or something, not like any length of time.
I got the feeling that they weren't going to do that.
That they wouldn't.
They wouldn't.
That once you left,
Time would keep going.
keep going. Interesting. Now, we have in this room some people who have some questions to ask you, I'm sure. So
Okay.
are you ready for that
Yeah,
at this point?
sure.
And then we'll continue on a little bit more.
No,
Okay, so I'd like
I'm
to
done.
ask you guys, raise your hand, just say your first name only, and then fairly loudly so the microphone can pick up what your question is. So you have your hands up first, so please.
Naomi. So I would like to ask you about your implants. I would like to know if they have ever caused you pain, if they have ever been observed in an X-ray.
No, I've never had an X-ray of my hand or my nose or behind my eyes. I've never had X-rays of there. If they did, they might find something. Supposedly, I forgot to include this story, the people in the other galaxy replaced my pineal gland with an artificial crystal.
With an artificial one, did you
Yeah,
say?
with
Really?
an artificial
Okay.
crystal.
Wow.
That works just like a pineal gland.
Huh.
Because they knew if I would have gone without the pineal gland for very long, I would have turned into an albino.
Wow.
Because the pineal gland, among many other things, controls the melanoma in your skin. Or I don't know if that's the right name for it, but the pigment in your skin. Without a pineal gland, you become an albino.
Albino would be completely white.
Yeah.
Does that gland do anything else that you know of?
Well, esoteric people say that it has to do with the soul.
Soul.
Yeah.
The
And it's
spiritual.
It's like the material connection between the brain and the soul.
Okay. That's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, another hand, please. Okay, Jan, please, very loud.
The reason I screamed before is because when you talked about your pineal gland, I focused in on it and I just reacted automatically. I can't help myself.
It's okay.
Something happened there, I felt. And I want to know, did they, how do they make babies? Did they tell you?
They have sex.
They're normal, they look like a normal person?
But they're more like, I don't know if you know much about the Hindus. They have a tradition in traditional Hindu where the man and woman only sleep together in order to have a child. So that's kind of the way they do it. They only sleep together. They don't have sex for pleasure. They only sleep together. I'm sure it's pleasurable, but they only sleep together to have a child.
They have normal organs and everything?
Yeah, they have normal. They look just like us. Brignatia looked like a beautiful woman from Earth.
Are they happy?
They're joyous. They're joyful. They're extremely happy.
Okay, we have another question. Go ahead.
Linda here. Are they here living on Earth, walking amongst us now because they look like us, they can act like us and function? So are they amongst us, living with us? Or are they only living in their galaxy and then telepathically communicating with you that way? Or are they living here?
They come here sometimes. I've seen their ships before. In fact, one time I saw an Eta Cassiopeian ship and an Avalon ship in the sky, both hovering over King Soopers in Colorado for over half an hour, just hovering there. And the Eta Cassiopeian ship had a kind of a reddish glow to it, and the other one was very silvery color.
Well, one thing, Linda here again. Do they land, get out
can
of
land.
the ship, and then stay and
I don't
mingle
know.
in amongst humans?
I don't know if they're
But
doing
the
that.
humans wouldn't detect. If they look exactly like us, and they could somehow
I think they could do that if they want to, but I don't know if they're doing that.
But is their transition with the way they look? do they have to transition themselves to some degree, or are they exactly looking like us even when they teleport themselves up where their ship is?
They don't, as far as I know, they don't teleport like my Etacasian friends. They don't have a teleportation device. They just walk onto the ship. And they do land. They landed when I got on their ship. And but as far as do they interact with the government, or do they come in among us and work among us and stuff like that, I really don't know.
Well, what you're saying too is that if we were to see them on the street, would
You
we
would-
perceive them as just another person, or
Yes.
we would? We wouldn't have any other feelings. It was just another person walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I've heard stories that Las Vegas, close to Area 51, and I've heard people say that there are aliens that look like us that literally visit, this is crazy, Las Vegas, and that they've seen them, and that they can detect that they are not from our own humanity, that they are visiting, and that they have been there. I mean, Las Vegas, of course, is just...
How could they detect that?
Right, that they just said that there's something that they just know it, that they're wearing the same clothes, but there's something there, and that they're not from here. And I've heard that stories a few times from people who should know. It's just interesting that for your question, that may or may not happen. But you're saying that they can't morph into other, you don't know.
No, they're not shapeshifters.
They're not shapeshifters. They're not morphing into other, more recognizable people. That's
Yeah,
what
they look human. They look exactly like us.
the same height and
Well, like Liana, she was pretty tall for a woman.
okay.
She was like 6.5 feet tall.
But you didn't hear voices, right? You only heard telepathic thoughts.
No, with them I heard
Oh,
their
okay.
voice.
Okay. And did they
talked.
sound very much like anybody
Yeah,
else?
they sounded very
They did.
human. Very human.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Well, Captain Valthor, you could be sitting next to him in a coffee shop, and it would be another guy, right? And we've seen the pictures, and he looked like a very good-looking guy, like you see anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Okay, another question. We have a question. Go ahead, Bob.
Hi, Hal.
Oh.
I'm just trying to get 3 points that I just need to clarify for myself in the timeline. When you said in the last section that they wanted you to come with you,
Mm-hmm.
you talked of several alien races. Which they are you talking about?
Oh,
First
okay.
one.
Sorry. The ones from Eta Cassiopeia, they look like Hindu women.
Mhm.
They sometimes tend to be tall, but not necessarily. Like I have actually seen them on the train before. They come down sometimes to give me little telepathic messages and stuff like that, and they look like an Indian woman.
So you were on a subway car,
Yeah.
and you had mentioned that a couple times to me,
Yeah.
and that you recognized someone who was looking at you,
Yeah, and then I heard a voice in my head, and
saying from that direction or from them.
yeah, from
And
them,
what did they say?
we're here for you,
We're here for you. Interesting. Wow.
or I'm here for you.
Yeah,
It
but
was just
that's
one.
kind of a very loving, embracing sort of a thing to say. It's not scary that someone would say that.
Yeah.
It's on the side of, on the good side.
Yeah.
Something you can relax a little bit about. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
And the other 2 points I was just trying to clarify for myself.
Okay.
You were talking about when you were younger,
Uh-huh.
the woman with the university.
Uh-huh.
The 2 questions are, was she the head of the university or just a
No,
teacher?
she was just a teacher. She was a physics teacher.
And the other question is the child that you befriended, the little girl.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember by any chance if she was the youngest or oldest of the children?
She was the youngest of the children.
Okay.
She was about my age,
Okay, those are the
which was 5.
those are just the 3 things I was trying to clarify.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
There's so many details, and it's so layered because as Rena is talking, I mean, my head is spinning because there's so many layers of things I want to ask, because it's such a unique experience, and so many things are hitting you for the first time. That would have to be a major deal in your life here.
Yeah.
Wow. Are there any more questions in the room? Yeah.
Okay.
That's Tom.
Yes, hi, my name is Tom, and I just wondered if you can just tell us about how come the eyes on your drawing there are green. I don't remember if you said that when you saw them alive that they looked green, and about the tear also.
Like I said, they've been trying to show more human emotions, and this is from my childhood. I just remember them being very colorful then, and I don't know if they were actually, or if it was the toys that they had that I played with, but when I drew this, that's what came out, and they're trying to show more human emotions in order to, I think, not just in order to fool me, but in order to fool human beings in general.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So we're at a point now. We have about 10 more minutes for this recording. So, Rena, maybe I should ask you at this point your overall feelings, ideas about this whole amazing journey that you've been on for so long in your life here now.
Going on 60 years.
Has it been? So that's quite
Going
a
on
journey.
60 years.
So here we are, and you're sharing this with the group, Disclosure Network New York,
Yeah.
and you have people in the room who really empathize and want to hear about this because they're getting it, they understand. And that must be a good feeling for you to know that you're really
Oh, yeah.
expressing this to people who care and that are on the same page with you, which we certainly are.
I love
What
this
are your
group.
thoughts for the, I would say for now, the near future, the far future? How do you see things?
I think we're coming to a point where
It's going to be louder now.
I think we're coming to a point where disclosure is going to happen, whether the government wants it to or not. And the government is starting to show signs
You bet.
of buckling.
You bet.
And I keep having these visions of, in the future, the aliens are here and they're showing us how to do different things.
In a helpful,
in a helpful way, and it becomes like a world university almost. Everybody goes back to school in order to learn all the stuff that the aliens have.
Wow. Or
I've been
giving
having
us, giving
visions
us.
like that.
That would be medicine, that would be technology, that would be things
Yeah.
that we need.
Yeah, and spiritual things and
Spiritual.
Um,
Connecting with other brothers and sisters from other realms.
yeah, and how to treat the earth right, and animals, and see, I have this firm belief that point's going to come when animals can communicate with human beings.
You know, there are some animals I think we all know.
They
That
do
they're-
now.
it's there. There's personalities.
Yeah,
there's all
they do.
kinds of-
They do now, but
Yeah.
even more so.
Yeah, even more so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up. Linda, again. I have never, had, I've always liked animals and pet them and that kind of thing, and respect animals, especially with the abuse that goes on. I see some
Yeah.
craziness. Although, the last year and a half, I have noticed animals communicating with me telepathically. The beginnings of it anyway, and it's slowly increasing. They're communicating with me, on a certain level that I've never been on, but I know as a sensitive what I feel. So I'm feeling dogs and cats, not birds and that kind of thing. And I also have been more with nature and more with grass and more with that kind of thing, feeling it more. And I think it's because we're ascending, we're ascending and we're reaching higher realms, and that all is opening up us even more so. But the communication with animals, I must say, I don't really feel it's just me. I feel that it's just happening. And it's going to continue to happen to a degree where there's going to be great communication with animal minds. What it is, just like communication with human minds or alien minds, because I don't see aliens like you. Once in a while I do see things, I told you.
Mhm.
Once in a while I see visions of aliens and things, but I have great communication with comforting thoughts too, like, we're here to help you, we're here for you, we will show you, it'll happen. They give me all the communication that I need, and whatever they say is right on. And I also deliver these messages to other people when they come to me psychically and they want to know things. So I wanted to share that. It all opened up with the animal thought, though. The animals are coming across. And you could even see it worldwide, because people are reaching out to protect animals even more and more.
That's right.
You are, the park and everything.
Absolutely.
Going the whole 9 yards to, protect them. And people out there are really going all over just to protect animal life. So animal life is very, very meaningful as opposed to human life. I would say it's getting to be like an equal thing soon in the future. People will really believe animals are special, like humans are special, and all the other variants in between.
Somebody once said to me that they're trying to make their way through their day. And I love that concept, that it might be a little beetle, it might be a squirrel, a bird of some kind. They're all trying to make their way. They're trying to, in their own way, live and multiply perhaps, and just trying to get through their day. I just love that concept. It gives you a whole new way of looking at the littlest ant or the biggest animal and feeling, they're living now with us, and they're trying to get through the day too. They've got challenges, they've got needs, and they're trying to fulfill their life too.
Even the young ones that are at one point, they're young. My husband's grandchildren, we had some beetles and things, crawling around on vacation, and years ago they would step on them and things like that to kill them, but they did not. And nobody told them how to react to this. They picked them up and exposed them continually to earth.
To safety.
Grass,
to safety, not being stepped
to continue with how they live. Yeah, they didn't step on them, they didn't squash them, they didn't do any of those things, and nobody has told them to do that. So it's just being transmitted. These thoughts are being transmitted to us. But of course, we're lucky, of course, we're highly conscious people on perhaps different levels, but nevertheless, that are accepting these thoughts and are steadfast in our delivery with sharing them. It's just up to where the people are at, level-wise, to accept the concept of what's happening.
That's a step in the right direction, and I've seen that myself. Yeah, we have
I just want to
That's
add,
Naomi talking? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Naomi talking. I just want to add to what she said. We've just had our Animal Rights March on August 24th of this year. Over 3,000 people showed up.
Now, that was in Manhattan, Naomi?
It was in Manhattan. And it's a long walk from Flatiron District to the village. So we were educating the public that also you don't have to eat animals to live. And that's why also we're promoting the sentience of all animals. And when we walk, we chant, animals want to live. They do not want to die. And that is, very telling And people didn't realize that. Many people just don't realize that animals have souls. So we are also promoting veganism.
Well, I got to tell you that I've never seen so many major food establishments, as well
Right.
as manufacturers of food themselves, factories, going into research for products that will satisfy what we've become used to, like of bacon or steak, but made
Right.
of
And that's-
plant products.
Right, and that's cardiovascular disease and terminal illnesses and dairy with the cancer and
Right.
all this. So we were promoting this, educating the public, and they are catching on. And people like Jane Velez Mitchell, and
Oh,
she's got a program and whatever on veganism and how to cook healthy. And some people don't care about animal rights, but they become vegans just
For
because
health-
of their health.
Reasons,
Right,
and that's going to
exactly.
be. And one
but
more
they
thing.
should care about everything.
No, and in addition to what you just said, which is all important, also is that the planet can't handle the amount of it would take water and
Yes,
sun
yes.
and soil and
The amount
space.
of methane from factory farming.
Right,
This
it's
is-
becoming economically
Right.
a
Disaster.
nightmare
Yes.
for them to produce on the same level they did. We have another hand up, and then we got about 4 more minutes. Quick question.
Well, a question, but I just want to tell one very quick funny
Sure.
story about a squirrel. When I fell and I couldn't move, and I'm just sitting there, the squirrel kept visiting me. I go to Bonnie,
Nice.
and she took my piece that was on the table, and she went towards the window with her 2 paws. But then I'm screaming, and she says, sitting there looking at me. It was very funny. My question is, to what age do these people live? And what is their lifestyle? What do they do? And how
They-
is the air there?
They don't have big cities like we do. I think the biggest city that I visited was 2 million people. But there's a lot of college towns of 100,000 or so. They live, you're not going to believe this, they live over 1,000 years old.
Wow.
Can believe that.
They live to be really old. And they live,
Food.
some of them live even longer than that. Brignatia was here on Earth 3,000 years ago, and she was in Britain. She was called the muse of poets. She taught poetry to the bards and people like that 3,000 years ago.
Do they eat food?
Oh yeah, they eat food, but they're vegetarian.
Rena, we're out of time now. I just
Okay.
want to, on behalf of the members of Disclosure Network New York, both here with us today, as well as the YouTube listeners, I want to thank you so much for your very exciting and insightful talk. And I would like to also invite you back, absolutely, when your schedule again permits it. DNN members, may we please show Rena our deep appreciation with a wonderful round of applause. This is Nick Curto for Disclosure Network New York, wishing you all an enlightening journey as you connect the dots to seek the truth. Till next time, stay safe, be kind to one another, and let peace on earth prevail. Till next time, goodbye.